first thing I'm doing, as always, is priming the eye area. I've just taken a little of the primer potion on a brush and I'm using that to buff out the product, and it just helps me to not over apply the primer too. So if you're a bit heavy handed, try shear things out with a brush instead. Today I'm using the gorgeous Naked Heat eyeshadow palette from Urban Decay as requested. The first shadow I'm taking is called Low Blow and I'm using this as my transition shade. As usual, I'm beginning on the outer third of the eye and with circular motions I'm buffing and blending the shadow across into the crease. Then, when I've little to no product left on my brush, I'm swirling it upwards just to fade out the edges. I've gone for a rounded smoky eye today, so next I'm using a small bullet brush just to apply a little more of that shade down along the lower lash line, and I'm making sure to connect the eyeshadow on that outer corner. I'm then going back in with my fluffy blending brush and diffusing things a little further. I really want to buff out this shade because I'll be adding a few more and I still want it to be visible in the finished look. Next, I'm picking up some of the shade He Devil, which is a lovely warm kind of reddish brown, and once again I'm starting on the outer third of the eye, placing down my colour, and then I'm blending across into the crease. I'm going for a sort of spotlight or halo smoky eye today, so not only am I taking this across into the crease, but I'm buffing the colour down on the inner third of the eye too, leaving a space in the centre of my lid, around about the width of my iris. Then I'm going back in with my blending brush, the one that I used to apply the first shade, and I'm using the leftover product on the brush just to fuse those two shades together. Then with the use of a pencil brush, I'm sweeping some more of that He Devil shade down along the lower lash line. I'm gradually making my way from light to dark, so next I'm going in with Fuego. This is one of my favourite shades in the palette. It's the most amazing deep kind of reddish plum, and I'm applying this in the same manner as the previous shades. So beginning on the outer third of the eye, sweeping the eyeshadow across the crease and down onto that inner third of the eye. Once I was happy with how that looked, I was meant to sweep the same shade down along the lower lash line, but somehow I forgot, so be sure to include that step. Next, I'm picking up some of that Ashes shade, which is a deep plummy brown, and I'm using a pencil brush to apply this colour. So I'm patting the shade down on the outer and inner third of the eye, keeping it in at the lash line and then fading the colour upwards from there. Then I'm sweeping it down along the lower lash line too, keeping the shadow close to the roots of the lashes. At this point I decided to add a little highlight, so I'm taking the lightest shade in the palette called Ounce. It's a lovely pearlescent shade and I'm just applying that underneath the brow. Next then, I'm going in with the shade Scorched, which is one of those metallic shades, and I'm using my finger to apply this to the centre of the lid. The metallics are ever so slightly chunky, so I just prefer to use my finger to apply. There will be fallout, but it's easily dusted away with a fluffy brush. I want to add that Scorched shade to the centre of my lower lash line too, but it would be a bit awkward using my finger, so I'm just taking a flat C-shaped brush and pressing it into that lash line. Next, I'm taking a black eyeshadow, and I really wish this palette had a black. I think all palettes should have a very light and very dark shade, but anyway, I'm using this to add some depth. So again, like the Ashes shade, I'm pressing it on the outer and inner third of the eye, close to that lash line. To line my waterline, I'm using the Glide On eye pencil in the shade Alkaline, and initially I thought this was a lip liner and I was so excited when I discovered otherwise. I'm going back in once more with some black eyeshadow and I'm running it along the lower lash line. Then I'm also pressing it into the roots of the upper lashes on the inner and outer third just to darken them a bit further. For lashes, I'm using the So Sue Glam Lashes in the style Milan. And then I'm finishing things off with a couple of coats of mascara to my top and bottom lashes, and then that's it. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Don't forget to thumbs up if you did, comment and subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you soon.